So these being pretty much the final drawings, are they, how close are they to the originals that you would have started with when you were sketching them?
Well, actually, it's an interesting point, because the original sketch that I've been doing in my sketchbooks was really quite similar. It was a kind of a net feel. It looked like a fishing net that had been stretched around a bottle, and almost like those the glass balls that are the weights in fishing, where they've actually got the net around them, and it looks like it's been on the ocean floor and it's been discovered after it's kind of grown around it. And I love that kind of feel where you can actually see nature has developed and changed over time, where you see like an old signpost and a tree has grown around it and it's kind of going in different directions. That kind of feel where it's you can see the age. Yeah, and you can see the process of nature moving around it.
Yeah, I mean, it's important for us. I mean, we make whiskey, so it's important for us that the whiskey is kind of king to all this. And
yeah.
I mean, even my limited creative mind, even I can see that will be quite nice. And I can't wait to see an actual finished one of those. You know, they actually see in the sandstone being cut. So will you be able to see right the way through?
Well, no, the sandstone is very brittle, so it can take a carving, but you don't want to cut into it because you want it to be strong enough. So what I actually did was I took the rose window from the cathedral itself, and this is a view through the back of the bottle, and there's an actual window looking through, and on the back of the sandstone there's a pierced piece of metal that will look, piece of silver that will actually look exactly like the rose window, but you'll only see it, you know, with the light shining through the whiskey, or if you actually finish the contents, which is very advisable.
Especially if you're sitting next to me.
So it's like a secret edition and another memento of the actual island itself.
Right. And this all wrapping around the bottle. What's that made of?
Well, it's made of solid sterling silver. So again, I really wanted to take a precious metal and make a true silversmith's object that is honed by craftsmen and worked where the quality of the metal is very genuine. A lot of metal that you might see industrial in bottle design or in any other kind of design is a base metal or a non-precious metal, but actually taking silver, you work it as if you're creating an actual piece of jewellery. So again, it's treating the whole project in a very sensitive and material focused way. And the other beauty of it is that we're taking the natural metal and we're leaving a very rough finish to it, where it's going to look aged. We're actually oxidizing it, and then which makes it almost black, and then rubbing back, and we've got these beautiful strands which show almost like the ropes that you see when I went into the shipbuilders area here in Orkney and saw some of the process of actually building the Orkney yawls and the traditional shapes, and those actually fed into my process as well. And so these shapes will be then oxidized and rubbed back, and the high points will really pop out at you, so it will look like a really bright object overall.
One of the most interesting things for you, I suppose, or like a barrier that you wouldn't have ever had before, will be all the sort of legal terms that you don't obviously have to put onto rings. So you now have to fit all the sort of...
well, we do actually have legal terms on rings. You have to have a maker's mark, and you have to have a metal mark, so that you can instantly tell who's created it and what metal it is legally to be sold. So there is a few things. So for me, actually, the hallmarks are actually quite an important part of the object.
Nice. Yeah. And where will the hallmarks sit on this? Is
this is the hallmarks right here, yep. And it's actually got the hallmark to show that, you know, Maeve Gillies is the creator, and like you are the overlord.
Yeah, yes I am.
And then we have the alcohol content of the whiskey, and again it needs to say that it's aged 50 years, just so that you know that you're getting something really quite ancient and important. And then the contents and product of Scotland, very important there.
Absolutely.
And then each bottle is also going to have an individual number on it, so that everybody knows that they're getting one of a very limited series, because there's not much of it, is there, Jerry?
No, there's not. No, there's not. Especially when I get these sample bottles for homework. it just gets smaller and smaller every week.
You're not meant to admit that on camera, Jerry.
We can cut that out.
Cut.
But what about the actual glass itself? I mean, working with metal, that's what you do. Working with glass, that's not what you do, is it?
No, it's not what I do. It's not what I do. But what I did was actually imagine that I would create something that I had a very strong idea of how I wanted the bottle to look, because obviously it's kind of an imprinted version of what I'm doing on the outside. So really I just need world-class experts in creating glass to realise my vision.
Absolutely. I know who they are.
So, and that's how we came up with this. So we created the model for this, and then they're able to actually create that in glass. And obviously glass is such a moving thing that you can't tie it down and say it will come out exactly like this. And in metal, we've got our own shrinkage things to look at to be sure that when we've created the original model that it will shrink to exactly the right size to fit the glass. Yeah. So it's two very different disciplines coming together, but with a lot of careful computer generated work you can actually make it happen.
So with, I mean, the glass, as we know, is a moving beast. So they don't, not one bottle will be exactly the same. There's always going to be slight differences. And with metal, I dare say it'd be exactly the same. So when you're fitting the actual casing to the glass, every single one will be completely different. Yes,
it's hand finished, and it has to be each two parts of the cage are cold riveted around the piece, because this is meant to be a very durable thing. This is, and in actual terms, that we have to create the same thing with our piece of jewellery. It's got to be an heirloom piece that lasts a lifetime. You can't make somebody think that an engagement ring something is going to fall off their finger in a few weeks' time and is not going to last, many, many years and decades. So I wanted this project to really have that kind of tough and durable feel to it. So each piece, the two halves, are going to be riveted with actual rivets, like very similar to how you have in the distillery. I've got photographs of the actual rivets on the machinery, and actually having the exact same rivet all the way around the bottle. So there's probably I think there's about 15 rivets or so that go around the outside at specific points and hold it together. So each piece has a very small tolerance of how it can be moved, because we're working with extremely talented craftsmen to make it. Yeah.
See, here's me thinking that you just get a bit of glass and some metal.
Just shove it together there.
Who cares?
Jenny, stick to the whiskey.
Yeah, I think I will.